Good evening and welcome to our Monday, June 8th meeting. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lang, seconded by Councillor Jaworski. Be it resolved that the June 8th, 2026 council meeting of the Township of South Glengarry now be opened at 6:30 p.m. All those in favor? Carried. If all can join me for the singing of our national anthem. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we'll move to the approval of the agenda. Moved by Councillor Bougie, seconded by Councillor McDonnell. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of South Glengarry approve the agenda. And I should have asked, are there any changes to the agenda?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there are not.
Okay. So approve the agenda as circulated. All those in favor? Carried. Approval of minutes. Were there any errors or omissions noted? Seeing none, moved by Councillor Jaworski, seconded by Councillor McDonnell. Be it resolved that the minutes of the following meetings be adopted as circulated. Previous meeting minutes, May 25th, 2026. All those in favor? Carried. All right, we have no presentations and delegations, so moving to action requests. SDG Official Plan Amendment number 29, 5961 County Road 34. It'll be Mrs. Haley speaking to it. Moved by Councillor Bougie, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lang. Be it resolved that Staff Report 2026-62 be received and that the Council of the Township of South Glengarry recommend to the United Counties of Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry Council to refuse the proposed official amendment for the property legally described as part of Lot 38, Concession 1, being Part 1 of our Plan 14R573 in geographic Township of Lancaster, now in the Township of South Glengarry, County of Glengarry, located at 5961 County Road 34, pin 671350470, to permit a site-specific exception to the agricultural resource land use designation to permit a transportation depot facility for trucks and farming equipment, along with truck and trailer parking uses on the subject lands, as it is not consistent with the PPS 2024 and the guidelines of permitted uses in Ontario prime agriculture areas. Mrs. Haley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If you don't mind, I'm going to take a few minutes to explain my report. So as you mentioned, this property is located at 5961 County Road 34. It's just north of the urban settlement area or village of Lancaster and located on the east side of County Road 34. It's approximately 5.33 hectares, which is 13 acres. And the property was previously developed containing a single detached dwelling and 2 sheds and was used as a hobby farm. The southern portion of the subject property is a hayfield. The single detached dwelling was recently demolished by the current owner. The purpose of Official Plan Amendment 29 to the OP for the United Counties of SD&G was an amendment that has been applied for by an individual to permit a site-specific exception to the agricultural resource land use designation. The proposed OPA is to accommodate a transportation depot facility for trucks and farming equipment, along with truck and trailer parking uses on the subject lands. If this is approved by the United Counties of SDNG Council, the special land use district will apply as an overlay to approximately the entire parcel, which is approximately 5.33 hectares. As I mentioned, the applicant wishes to establish a transportation depot and repair garage to repair trucks, heavy equipment, and farm equipment. The proposed development is as follows. One-story transportation depot and repair garage that is has a gross floor area of approximately 582 square meters, 11 car parking spaces, and 150 truck and trailer parking spaces. In the staff report, I speak to the policies that we're obligated to follow. And so we are obligated to follow the provincial planning statement, a guideline issued by the province. It's called Guidelines on Permitted Uses in Ontario's Prime Agricultural Areas. And I also explain sections of the United Counties of Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry official plan. I'm not going to go through every one of them, but there's a few that I would like to highlight. So when we're looking at the PPS, the planning statement, we're looking at whether if the proposed use conforms. And so the requested site-specific exception to the agricultural resource lands designation, I feel, is not consistent with the PPS policy, as the proposed use is not an agricultural use, it's not an agricultural related use, or an on-farm diversified use as defined in the PPS. The proposed primary use is a transportation depot and repair garage. The applicant is including the repair of farm equipment as an accessory use. However, there is no clear evidence in the planning justification report that was submitted with the application that the proposed business will serve the farming community. Also, that the proposed use of the transportation depot and repair garage is not located, although it's not located in the specialty crop area, and the proposed use complies with the minimum distance separation formula, the official plan has not identified a need for transportation depots and repair garages throughout the United Counties, nor has the applicant submitted a comprehensive evaluation of reasonable alternative locations in South Glengarry or in SDNG to be able to avoid the prime agricultural areas. Guidelines on Permitted Uses in Ontario's Prime Agricultural Areas is a document that I don't speak about very often to Council, but it's a document that we rely on regularly, considering how much prime agricultural farmland we have in South Glengarry. And the document is very easy to follow. It has excellent suggestions on what's permitted and what's not permitted. So I'm going to highlight a few of those things. These guidelines are intended to help municipalities, decision makers, and farmers and others interpret the PPS policies. They provide guidance on agricultural uses, on-farm diversified uses, agricultural related uses, and non-agricultural uses in prime ag lands. A comprehensive review of the guideline was completed when looking at this application. Section 2 of the guideline provides examples of permitted agricultural related uses and quotes the definition of the PPS. And I'm going to read the definition to you. The PPS defines an agricultural related use means those farm-related commercial and farm-related industrial uses that are directly related to farm operations in the area, support agriculture, benefit from being in close proximity to farm operations, and provide direct products and or services to farm operations as a primary activity. We have a lot of great examples of agriculture-related uses in our community. An example that I use on a regular basis is the cheese factory, Glengarry Fine Cheese, that's north of Lancaster. We also have Monroe's Agrimart. We have tractor dealerships. There's lots of different uses in our community that certainly help the farming community that fit perfectly in this definition. The consultants applying for this application confirmed that the farm equipment repair component of the proposed use will be an accessory use to the proposed transportation depot and repair garage. Therefore, this does not meet the PPS definition or the guidelines, as the farm equipment repair is not the primary activity of the proposed transportation depot and repair garage. Section 3.2 of this policy talks about non-agricultural uses should only be considered if other locations outside of prime agricultural areas are unavailable. When a location is considered, the guidelines require a rigorous assessment and evaluation of alternative locations and mitigations of impact on agricultural uses. Another report that was submitted to support the application is called an agricultural impact assessment. And that assessment included a recommendation. And the recommendation was Justification for locating the proposed development within a prime agricultural area is required. If it can be demonstrated that the proposed development cannot be located within the Lancaster settlement area or on surrounding rural district lands, the subject lands would represent a reasonable location for the proposed development. As I mentioned, we didn't receive a clear justification as to what lands were evaluated and if all lands were considered in South Glengarry and SDNG. In the county official plan, I'm going to list a few examples of permitted uses in the agricultural resource lands. So agricultural uses are obviously permitted. Agricultural related uses and on-farm diversified uses, as per the PPS, are permitted. Forestry uses, woodlands, conservation uses, existing dwellings, dwellings on existing lots of record, et cetera, et cetera. So the proposed use of a transportation depot and repair garage and heavy equipment and farm equipment, if it was a truly related agricultural use, then the official plan would not be required, or the official plan amendment, would not be required. You may recall that we hosted a public meeting on January 12th, 2026. We followed the requirements under the Ontario Planning Act, where we notified all the abutting property owners within 120 meters. An ad was placed in the newspaper, and a sign was placed on the subject property. At the public meeting, there were 17 members of the public in attendance. 8 members of the public spoke in opposition to the proposed amendment/use. To date, we've received 12 written comments from the public regarding the proposed amendment. All comments opposed the proposed transportation depot and repair garage, and their concerns can be summarized as follows: noise, increased traffic, negative impact on the village of Lancaster, negative impact on area drainage, negative impacts on the environment, negative impacts on the municipal drain, and social and quality of life impacts. We also circulated the United Counties of SDNG Transportation Services Department and the Raisin Region Conservation Authority. The SDNG Transportation Services Department responded by indicating that that they were unsatisfied with the conclusions of the submitted traffic impact study in support of the proposed official plan and zoning bylaw amendments. The study does not adequately account for heavy truck traffic or the trip generation associated with the truck repair facility. As a result, the trip generation values appear to be considerably underestimated. While Transportation Services has no objection in principle to the proposed amendments, additional and more detailed traffic analysis will be required to clearly demonstrate that the proposed development will not result in adverse impacts to the county road network and to confirm that County Road 34 will continue to operate at an acceptable level of service. The Raisin Region Conservation Authority has no concerns with the requested official plan amendment and would be commenting if this application is approved, as it would be subject to site plan control. In conclusion, my recommendation is recommending that we recommend to the United Counties of SDNG Council to deny the requested official plan amendment. If County Council denies it, then the zoning bylaw amendment will not, it will also come forward to Council with a recommend to be denied. If County Council approves it, then we'll continue the process and bring the zoning bylaw amendment before this Council at a later date to make a decision. So I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions from members of council? Councilor Bougie?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Ms. Haley, for the detailed report. You've pretty much hit everything I was going to talk about, but I guess my main question is in regards to how, obviously it seems like this is kind of a workaround to apply for this kind of transport depot. I mean, it is still agricultural land, and I feel like as a municipality that values it greatly, any kind of agricultural land that gets removed, which it would be removed, even if it was a hayfield, they're going to pave over this. And it concerns me greatly if this is going on in other places in Ontario where they're going to say it's some agricultural use where it's clearly not. It deeply concerns me because the amount of acres of farmland that we're losing every week is substantial. So it even concerns me that they could even apply for this in the first place. But I'm definitely taken back a little bit. A lot of opposition from the community as well, and valid points. I don't even think you mentioned the CN rail issue that could potentially happen there, and the queuing on 34. I could see that definitely being a problem, but I guess my main reason why I would be opposed would be the fact that it's not really agricultural use. It's going to be a transport depot. So I just wanted to mention that. And I don't know if you have any comments about well, you did talk about the transport depot. So that would be the main use. And saying that it's a repair shop for agricultural is, I guess, minor. But yeah, curious to see what other members of council have to say.
Are there any questions or comments further? Councillor Jaworski?
Sure. Thank you, through you, Mayor McDonald. Thank you, Ms. Haley, for the report. Just briefly, I think this one actually is fairly straightforward in that county staff, have, clearly outlined that this would be counter to like provincial policy and protecting of agricultural resource land, and our urban settlements are not built out to their maximum, and there are other places where this could be put. But we need to acknowledge that this is happening all over the province, where there is big demand for trailer parking, particularly in proximity of the 401. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of this. So but yeah, I think it's very straightforward in this case, that we need that staff has made the right recommendation and we should support it.
Any further questions or comments? Just a reminder that the staff report does read, we are recommending to refuse, so a in favor is to refuse it. Okay. Calling the vote, all those in favor? Carried. Key information report, I believe you'll speak to that. It's an update on Bill 9, Municipal Accountability Act. Mrs. Dixon?
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor, Mrs. Compo asked me just to present this information report to you. On May 26, 2026, Bill 9, being a Municipal Accountability Act, passed the third reading and is expected to receive royal assent by the time that the new term of council starts. This piece of legislation is going to primarily change the accountability and governance processes for council. One of the things that this is going to be presenting is a standardized code of conduct. It's going to be establishing rules for an Integrity Commissioner of Ontario and establishing a mechanism with significantly high threshold to remove members of council from office. On April 13th, 2026, council requested from administration that they revise the township's existing code of conduct. But seeing as that a standardized code of conduct is going to be coming out of this bill, administration is wondering if you're still wanting them to continue the review, or if you would like us to defer the work pending the release of the provincial framework.
Thank you very much. Deputy Mayor Lang, and then Councillor McDonnell.
Yeah, I don't have a problem deferring it till we see what the province puts in place, and there wouldn't be much point to doing all the work in the province says, no, this is the way it's going to be, 2 months later. So I'm okay with that.
Thank you. Councillor McDonnell, I see a head shake, kind of same
Yeah,
logic.
through you, Mr. Mayor, same idea as the deputy mayor. There's not much point in going through that exercise and communicating with other municipalities when we're going to have something standardized handed down to us, and we'll work from there.
Okay, I see other people shaking their heads, so yes, please defer this until that bill comes, and then we can address it then if we do need to address it. There were no items pulled from the consent agenda, so we'll say moved by Councillor McDonnell, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lang. Be it resolved that the council accepts the items listed on the consent agenda. All those in favor? Carried. Items for consideration. Oh, yes. Boards and committee updates. Are there any? I didn't see any. We had in our RCA meeting, so if anybody remembers one, let me know. Or am I skipping something, Councillor McDonnell? Review of temporary temp permit is one you're thinking? Comes after, or did I miss something? Oh, that's what, yeah, we did that. I hope so. Okay. So board and committee updates. The one was RRCA that I sit on, and Deputy Mayor Lang. We looked at records retention. Additionally, and there was some discussion there, I guess mostly me. If Clerk Campo was there, she'd probably laugh at me. We determined that the 2027 budget will be earlier this year, trying to get it in before the change happens, and they do want that. We appointed members to our transition committee. We're using Allison as our CAO there, or director, general manager, I think the title. And then Andrew Gaindo, he's going to be our deputy mayor from South Stormont. Very valuable because he has legal experience, so we thought that was a great one. And then there were updates on strategic policy, something coming up for those living in in and around Lakeview subdivision or east of Long Sault. We will be naming, there's a marsh that was donated from the township to the Conservation Authority. It will be either be called Lakeview Marsh. Brownell has the name to it. I forget exactly. I should have maybe wrote it down specifically. Or Limestone Quarry Road. Or there was an interesting name, but it's Limestone, Brownell, and Lakeview Marsh. So if you know anybody who's interested in conservation, it will go out to vote, and the South Stormont will actually determine the name. So that's all for what's going on at RRCA. I see no others. We will get to notice of motion. So we do have a mover, Deputy Mayor Lang. I'll read the motion if we can get a seconder. Councillor Bougie. So this is to review review of temporary tent permit requirements, and it's moved by Deputy Mayor Lang, seconded by Councillor Bougie. Whereas the Township of South Glengarry regulates permits for tents in accordance with the provisions of the Building Code Act 1992 and the Township Bylaw 2026-16, and whereas there is value in assessing whether the current permitting framework remains necessary or could be streamlined, simplified, or replaced with alternative compliance approaches, now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Township of South Glengarry directs administration to undertake a review of the Township's temporary tent permit requirements and processes, and that the administration report back to council with findings and options for consideration no later than the July 27th, 2026 regular council meeting. I'll throw it to you, Deputy Mayor Lang.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you. And thank you for the push to get this on the agenda. Appreciate it very much. We've talked about it on and off since we were elected, 8 years ago, some of us, and Trevor longer than that. It's been on and off. So I'd like to see if there's something that we could do. I've often thought that most of the tents in the area are put up by Micmac Tents, whether they were inspected, once in the spring, their tents are inspected, and like Hydro has a thing where electricians, good electricians that are in good standing, small jobs, they're allowed to self-inspect, and then they get, once in a while they're checked, just to make sure they're, something like that, or just something simple, or we ignore it altogether. I know we're supposed to inspect them, but it just seems onerous on the public. So if there's support, I wouldn't mind staff to come back to us with something.
And everybody's okay with that logic? Any guidance or thoughts on like a direction for staff in addition to Deputy Mayor Lang, or is that's good? Okay. Mrs. Haley, do you have enough to come back with a report? Okay, great. Well, thank you for bringing this forward, and all those in favor? Carried. So confirming bylaw, moved by Councillor Jaworski, seconded by Councillor Bougie. Be it resolved that bylaw 2026-41, being a bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify matters dealt with by resolution, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 8th day of June 2026. All those in favor? Carried. Adjournment. Moved by Councillor McDonnell, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lang. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of South Glengarry adjourn to the call of the chair at 6:55 p.m. All those in favor? Carried. Have a good evening, everyone.